Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
Hi.
Hi. So Cassie, you put something on the group chat earlier this week that
which was from our Facebook group.
Yeah, which I thought was really interesting that we could discuss. Actually, you thought it was interesting that we should discuss, and I agree wholeheartedly. And that's the idea of the problematic, like, would fuck.
Right, like you would, but you would never tell anybody. It would be like a deep, dark secret that you buried deep in your soul or something.
Right.
Yeah, somebody had posted a picture with Paul Bryan, and they were like, would you? And I'm like, somebody had mentioned, they were like, absolutely not. Like once they've crossed that line into like a territory of like, I don't agree with anything that we clearly don't see eye to eye. There's no way I could find you attractive. I don't even think that guy's attractive to me at all.
Yeah, I get the ick really, like, and we've talked about this recently, that like so much of my sexuality is tied into mental, like that mental connection. And as soon as somebody's like a Paul Bryan, where we have very deep disagreements, I'm like,
fundamental.
I get the ick. And so for me, it's like, it was like that pic that went around a couple years ago of like the hot inmate or whatever that could have been a model or whatever.
No,
it was just
absolutely not.
He did become a model afterwards, and that's the thing is like, I don't necessarily write people like the hot inmate. I didn't entirely understand it. If he was in jail because he like.
Yeah, I forget
had
what
some
he was
weed
in
on
jail
him
for
or something, then I'd be like, whatever.
then
you can still think that person's hot. Like, who?
Right.
Like, there's so much wrong with our justice system that I would be like, eh. But if it's like people who, and this is so gross to me, but like people who have their like top 5 hot serial killers and shit like that, where I'm just like,
disgusting. That's disgusting.
Is wrong with you?
Yeah,
like I'm just like, no. Like you have to take into account the person's character, you know, and like who they are. And a person can become more attractive based on their like worldviews or their charisma or their conversation, ability and stuff like that. They can also become less attractive.
Yeah.
If I really just don't see eye to eye with you on things that matter to me and are important to me. Like if you have a hard time with women being people who deserve equal rights, I don't care how physically attractive you are. Like, You're
not attractive any longer.
I guess it really has showed me like the priority level for the things that matter the most to me and like what things attract me to other people. And physical appearance is like so far down on the list for me.
Yeah, because physical appearance changes.
Right.
With personality, right? Like somebody that but that's the same thing. The same way I feel about like people who are dating or have dated one of my friends, anybody's significant other. It's like, I can see that you are an attractive human being, but you are no longer attractive to me.
Right.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I would never like, ugh.
That's something is I can look at someone and say, objectively, you're good looking. Like there are people who are objectively good looking who I'm just like, you have a very symmetrical face by our beauty standards, our societal beauty standards. You are an attractive person physically, but that doesn't mean that I am attracted to you in that like I want any kind of like intimate partner relationship in any way with you. Like those things can both be true. There are a lot of pretty people who have ugly hearts, lots of them. Like men and women. Like there are lots of really pretty girls that I knew who were mean girls, So I can objectively say like you are physically beautiful, but your soul is ugly, and I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah. But I think that there's also, like I was saying, like to the point where like, I mean, like I can look at Eric, I can look at Anthony and be like, oh, you're a physically good looking person, but like even though you're still even a nice person, I just have no attraction to you at all because I have divorced myself from that idea so wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? Do you guys get that way? Like about like people like
I
in
feel
your
the
inner
same.
circle? It's like, ugh.
And I think it's because also, like, especially for the two of you guys, there's a feeling for me that goes beyond friendship into family. So then it almost like then I'm like,
Friendcest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Ew.
Friendcest.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
I feel
we
you.
can't-
I feel you on
we
that.
can't go there because I'm like, we're too close. Now we're like family, and so it'd
Right.
be like, ew,
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna do anything with my brother.
I wouldn't anyway with anyone who'd had any kind of serious relationship where there were feelings involved with someone. Like I wouldn't date somebody who my friend had dated, especially because, you know, like that friend had probably come to you and like talked to you about that relationship.
Totally.
And talked to you about how much they like loved and cared for that person. I could never complicate things like that.
But it fucking happens.
It
How
does,
It does happen.
I don't see it. I don't know how it can happen. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't
There
have
had
the
to be rifts in the friendship.
genetic-
There had to be
There
rifts
had
in the
to be.
friendship already for you to be able to go in and do something like that, I think.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Or something. I'd like to dig in deeper to know kind of more about the motivation behind that. And I think mostly it doesn't have anything to do with the friend that they are betraying, but it is all to do within themselves.
For
But
sure.
I still, it's nuts to me, like people that are close friends who then hook up with
fuck
that
with
friend's ex, or not even their ex. Like,
That
Yeah, I have
to
somebody in
me-
mind that we're all thinking about. Christina's ex.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, listen, I just don't have that in me. I guess that I assumed, and that's maybe my naivete, that everybody got that thing. Like you said, that Friendcest vibe where it's just like, ooh, like I mean, like, again, I can objectively say that these people are good looking, but in my mindset, like oh God, it's so crosses such a line.
But let me devil's advocate here. So
Okay.
we've all also worked within theater troops or creative troops and been in our 20s. And you know how incestuous those environments were, where one person would date and break up and then the other person. Would you say that's because at that age that even though there was a closeness there, that people weren't actually friends?
I think, well, I think it's a little different if we're comparing our situations. Christina specifically, I was in theater. I was in that environment when I was much younger. So I was like 16, 17, 18.
Same,
And I think
same,
at
same.
that age, you're not entering into real serious relationships in general. It's not like your friend was dating someone for 3 years and then they broke up and you were like, I'm going to snake on in there. You know what I mean? Like
It felt like it though.
It was like,
It did feel like 3 years.
but I do feel like it was common kind of for like someone to break up with somebody and then the next show be with someone else. And there was always drama around it. It was never
Right.
drama free.
Yeah.
Like there was always drama. But I think in general, people got over it because they understood that that is kind of the purpose of those years, of those like teenage years. It's the same thing that happens in high school because everybody's just trying to figure out what they even like. But I will say, once I got a little bit older and there was still kind of a little bit of that, you know, going on. If it was someone who I knew that my friend really liked and was like really close to, I would not step in on that.
It's immediate hands off.
Because
it's immediate hands
because
off.
like I value my friendship with that person more than I value exploring this other thing. And if I don't, then that
Truly.
means that there are cracks in that friendship. That
Right.
means that
Yeah.
that means I'm willing to risk losing that friendship. Which means that
Right.
are we even really that close of friends? then?
Friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Interesting.
Oof. Wow. What an
We got
intense deep dive. What an intense deep dive.
I do
oh
love
my God.
Keegan. I'm going to give you props. You get the gold star this episode for for a new term, Friendcest. I think you heard it here
Listen.
first.
You know, I
folks.
think that might have come out of my days in theater, actually. I think it might have. Now that I think about it, I'm like, maybe I know I've used that term before in the past, and I think that was probably was because theater is such a weird thing for people who never experienced it. I just watched the movie Theater Camp, which I think you both would enjoy if you haven't seen it.
What is it on?
I'll let you use my Voodoo credentials because we actually bought it. I think it's on Hulu though, or it was on Hulu.
Okay.
Okay.
But it all takes place in a camp for theater kids.
Oh my God.
And it's such a
Amazing.
specific culture.
Yes.
It really is. And it's so insular. And so I do think that kind of thing, it does happen. It's just because like you're in a very intense environment and it's only a certain number of people all together. Right. And you're the only people who understand what you're going through.
It's so funny. I think there was the SNL skit years ago, not that long ago, and it was like you're dating an actress, and it's like everything is like, oh, it's so dramatic.
It's such a big deal.
It's like,
well, and also,
everything's such a big deal.
If you were in theater, like back in the day, especially when things were still like back when I was in theater, was in like the mid to late 2000s. It was still incredibly heteronormative, our culture, and there would be only like. There wasn't a lot of like gender fluidity. So it was like you were either like gay or straight. And there was always like one or two straight guys. And that was fucking
cleaned
it.
up.
Yeah. So it was just like every girl in the theater was.
I got to date Richie. So.
Right. Exactly.
The showmances.
Yes.
Yeah. Big time. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, when I was doing theater in school, there were all these little rituals and stuff too, where like we would do the bra song from Beaches. Oh, do you guys even remember that?
I saw Beaches.
I love Beaches.
Do not remember that song.
Over the shoulder boulder holder.
Oh yes, yes. The brassiere or whatever.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah. It just aged myself, but that movie was old even when I was doing theater. So I'm like. But it was like tradition that we all had to memorize this song and stuff like that. But just all the little rituals.
The annoying, the most annoying ritual though still, and we've talked about this before, is the night after like your opening or whatever, and you all go out to like TJ's or Denny's or whatever and sing.
Well, yeah.
Show tunes.
This is going to make you cringe so bad. This is going to make you cringe
we
so
could
bad.
Smoke back then, so imagine.
Just one like straight guy who cleaned up all the time. I won't say his name on this podcast, but he knows who he is.
Sell him out.
But he knew it, right? He knew that like kind of like everybody was into him. Options were limited. Mm-hmm. We all went to like the local coffee house. It was called Mud House in Springfield. We would go there all the time, like before and after shows. One time we went there and we sat like in the area that has the couches, and he pulled out his acoustic guitar, out the acoustic guitar, and we sang show tunes on the acoustic guitar until they asked us to leave.
Oh my God.
They were like, you guys have to get out of here. That's enough.
No. You guys wrap it up.
Some like 30-something-year-old bartender who's like
popular.
I'm gonna fucking murder.
I'm gonna kill some teenagers today. That's what's about to happen. I can't do this.
Say popular one more time. Do it. I dare you.
Oh my God.
It was probably something from Rent, if I'm being honest. Like, let's be real.
Oh, totally.
Oh Lord.
Totally.
Well, to circle back around, I definitely think that we need to embarrass ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Why not? We're already here.
I think we need to embarrassing Who'd You Fuck FMK.
Okay.
Now, I've got mine.
Okay, I got one too.
Okay, I've got a couple.
Christina,
I've got a couple of options. Let me hear your guys' first, because I've got like two that I can go between here.
Colonel Worf.
Oh, hell yeah!
From
I would
TNG.
as well.
Yeah.
Would. Like in the makeup.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the only way. That's the only way. Like I'm not interested.
Kidding?
I'm not interested outside of the makeup. Keep the makeup on.
No. TNG, first of all, was like life for me back then.
Oh my God.
And I mean, like, arguably, is he hot? I don't know. I mean, but would I?
Would.
Probably.
Yeah, I would.
Would.
Mm-hmm.
Would.
All right, I got one for you guys that And it's not because I will say, okay, I'm going to say who it is first. David Cross.
David
You
Cross?
know what? Would.
David Cross.
Wait, hold
The
on. I gotta
comedian.
Google. Oh, David Cross. I knew
Yes.
that about you. I
So,
think you've told
I
me that
would.
before.
I think he's
Really?
I
Yeah.
think he's really funny, and I actually think
He's so
he's
funny.
hot. I would too.
I think
I would
he's so
too.
hot. I don't know why.
I would
it's
too.
just like it's a weird hot because I never really was into like Arrested Development. There's something hilarious about his voice, about his.
He is
I don't know.
so
he
funny.
Just but also too, he's that kind of funny that like I've seen enough Arrested Development to be like, is there a darkness in there?
Yeah.
There definitely is. There's an energy.
They're a little.
I don't think David Cross is hot, but I respect your decision. I do.
Dude,
He's
his-
married to
listen.
Joan of Arcadia, okay, and they've been married for a long time. So
I don't know who that is.
Amber Tamblyn?
Oh, Amber Tamblyn.
Yeah.
I do know who that is,
Yeah.
but I've never seen.
Yeah, I've seen his stand up and everything like that. His sense of humor is so fucking good and so dry and so like he's so quick-witted, so intelligent, obviously. So yeah, I'm with you. Would
Yeah.
definitely hit smash.
Oh man, you know what his birthday is?
Oh, what is it?
What?
April 4th.
Oh,
God
girl.
damn it.
He gives
an
Aries
Aries.
energy.
He
does give Aries
There's like a chaos goblin energy to him a little bit,
Yeah.
but I feel it
Oh
from
no.
him. Okay, I have 3 and they're all very different vibes and I don't know
Okay.
what
Okay.
to pick here.
All right, we'll help.
Okay.
Okay, will you help me? Okay. It's going to be embarrassing because the first one I remember the moment it hit me like a lightning bolt whenever I was like 21. I was watching something with Gordon Ramsay in it. And I was like,
Okay.
you're giving me
Yep.
and I'm like, why he's so
Yep.
mean? And he's not even that like good looking. He's not like good looking.
I think he's arguably good looking.
okay.
Yeah.
Plus,
and I
he's a
think
British accent.
Yeah.
and talented
Intensity. Yeah, and an
intense,
intensity
yeah.
that I'm kind of into. But okay, so
Makes
maybe that
sense.
one's too easy. So let's put that one to the side.
Okay.
cook. Okay.
Another one, and I feel like this came from one, his interviews because he seems like a really nice guy, and 2, I watched Boardwalk Empire. And
Steve Buscemi.
I know where you can't say Steve Buscemi. We've already done him, and
Have we?
Definitely yes. I
don't remember.
He is definitely. Oh, that's the thing. We talked about that. He's the perfect example of like somebody who's like shouldn't be hot at all.
Yeah.
and arguably not.
He's not.
but
I can
definitely
objectively say that. The same way that I
But I
can
don't
say
think
that
it's
some people
problematic.
are like,
Yeah.
no, but he's just not. He's like not.
He's
a,
not conventionally attractive, but
That's right.
Would
That's right.
would smash
Would
would
smash.
smash
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi.
Okay,
Yeah.
the third
Yeah.
one, I'm not actually sure if I would now because he is old enough to be my grandpa, and I'm like probably
Oh,
not.
man.
But John Goodman.
Okay, that's the one.
Okay,
That's
that
the
one's
fucking one.
that's I'm struggling with that. You want to
That
fuck
is,
Dan Connor?
Wow.
No, I mean I don't want to,
Wow.
but I could be okay with it because he seems like such a nice guy.
Wow.
Oh, that's the one, girl.
That
That's
is,
the
I
one.
wrote it down, so it's
All right,
happening.
it's locked
Yeah.
in. It's
Oh,
locked in.
wow.
You're kidding me. I have got to find somebody else because mine's
Lost.
a character. I got to find
You don't
somebody
have
else.
to. You don't have to if you don't want to.
I don't even know the actor's name. I'm so sorry for the person that I'm, disrespecting, but I know him as Colonel Worf, and I just remember
Yeah.
I've always had a crush on him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
nothing wrong
He
with
wasn't
that.
my TNG
Would-
crush, but
would smash Data too.
Same.
oh, would smash every guy on there.
Yeah, LeVar Burton.
No.
including
No, not
including Will
Riker.
Wheaton.
Riker was the
What?
only one I cannot. I think Riker is gross.
Well, I think you're strictly wrong and a hard number one for me. Wow, this is why we could never. This is why we're perfect best friends
I
because
know,
we
we
would never be attracted to the same
Nope.
people.
Nope, we
Nope.
wouldn't.
Because he is my hard number one.
Oh, really?
I mean, I think he's hot.
For fucking sure.
Yeah.
When I was young, drool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking drool.
He's
Yeah.
got a good beard.
Oof.
Yeah.
Worf
And
was
we know I
always
love a
been
beard.
my number one. Patrick Stewart was my number 2.
Oof.
Same.
Captain Picard. Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah.
Spicy.
What?
hot.
Will Wheaton, strong 3.
Data 3, Will Wheaton 4 for me.
Data would have been 4. Or no, Worf would have been 4. And then Data. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Those TNG nerds are like, oh my God. Weigh in
So we
with your
pushing my glasses up.
with your Star Trek hotties.
Oh man.
Okay, Colonel Worf, David Cross, and John Goodman. This is the most random FMK we've ever done.
Yep.
Wow.
I know what I'm gonna do. I think.
Okay.
I think I do
Okay.
too. Okay, go ahead.
I do not.
I'm gonna marry. I think I'm gonna marry John Goodman.
Yeah.
I just think he seems like
Yeah.
a really nice guy. You know, he's from my hometown, or he went to college in my hometown, and he comes back all the time and like talks.
I want him to hug me.
He seems like he gives great hugs.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
best
Like,
hugs.
I just feel
Just
like you would have a
Growing
good,
up, watching Roseanne too, like Dan Connor was like, I mean, he's like dad.
Yeah.
I never watched that show growing up, so that's perfect for me.
And for
because my parents hated that show for some reason, and so like we never watched it. So
loved
I don't
it.
have that stuck in my head.
he was a
I have
great
him from
husband on Roseanne. He was a
Yeah, he
great
was.
example of like a man who like by contrast of like Married with Children, like Dan
we didn't watch that either.
loved his wife and like
Yeah.
always talked about how much he loved his wife and family on that show. So
Yep. It was a good example of like a good, you know, like relationship.
Partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's, and not to say that he's quite like that necessarily in real life, but I don't think he's too far off from that. I think he is like, genuinely seems to be like a very good person. For him to have had the career that he's had for as long as he's had it, for him to be at the age that he's at, and for us not to have any weird
That's
shit,
good.
like knock
That's
on
good.
wood, is like, is
For
pretty
me,
good.
For me, he's Big Lebowski. Like, you know, I
Yeah.
see him as in that role.
Dude, he's so good in that. He's such a good actor.
He's such
So
a good
good.
actor, and he's so funny. Like he's got like such good comedic timing. He can do anything because he's been in horror movies too. He's been in comedy movies. He's done voiceover. Like I just think that he's so multi-talented and seems so lovely. So I'm gonna marry him. I'm gonna fuck Worf.
Yeah.
Gotta know.
Oh yeah.
I want a date on board the Enterprise.
Hell yeah. You think I'm not going to use that simulator?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Dude,
holodeck.
Also,
I believe you mean the
and-
holodeck.
Yes.
the holodeck. Yeah.
What was the thing that makes all the food and stuff though too?
Oh, true.
Always
We
loved
talked
that
about
thing.
this recently.
We did. Yeah. I always loved that thing. Yeah. I think that that's going to be interesting. He's probably got some traditions, some Klingon traditions that like I would like to learn about that I'm interested in.
I want to hear dirty talk in Klingon.
I'm interested in discovering more about that.
There is definitely somewhere in a Wattpad.
Oh
version.
yeah.
Wattpad, like version of this story somewhere.
Totally is. You're exactly right. If we searched right now, there is there is Worf porn out there.
So much fanfic.
for
So
sure.
much fanfic.
Yeah.
100%.
Christina wrote it.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, shh, don't tell. Okay, I know.
Yeah.
I know what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
I am going to marry David Cross because he is bitey.
Yeah.
Seems a little bit like a dick. Extremely smart. Very funny. You know, I love a bald guy. And that beard. I think he's hot. I'm down for it. We're gonna have a blast. I'm gonna marry David Cross, and I too am gonna fuck Worf.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
It's just like he's tall, he's strong. I want to see.
She wants to write that fanfic.
I do. I
You
know.
gotta
I need
know. You gotta know.
use cases.
Yeah.
I'm gonna marry John Goodman.
Yeah.
Feels right. He's such a, I don't know. He just seems like the best guy.
You love a
Like,
laid
and the
back
way that
partner
he's
energy,
just-
Cassie. Like you like a
Yeah.
partner that has kind of like a chill vibe.
Oh, I need it because I mean, can you imagine two people with high-strung
You and
people?
David
Like,
Cross
just-
would be.
Oh my God. In therapy.
We would be at the
is what we
restaurant.
would be.
Like everyone else at the table would just be like, you and David Cross would be just like making jokes and so loud.
But everybody think we're fighting.
making fun of each
We're
other.
not fighting. This is hilarious.
We're flirting. This is foreplay for us.
This is our it's our love language.
We're gonna run to the bathroom real quick. Yeah, no, totally. I am gonna fuck him. Mm-hmm. I am because I do think that that's exactly right. That's the energy. It's chaos.
Yep.
But chaos can be really good.
Fun. It can be fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'm here for a good time, not a long time. That's how I feel about David Cross. And then I'll be friends with Worf. I don't need to explore that avenue.
Yeah.
But I will read your book about it.
I thought of marrying him for a while, but from what I remember from the show, he's a bit of a rule follower and stuff. He strikes me as a Virgo.
Also, I think he needs some therapy. I think his family life has left some emotion. I think he's got some generational trauma he needs to work through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know that I want to take all that on.
Right.
Necessarily.
One night, though. That'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
cool.
man.
Well, you guys want to take 5 and then we'll come back with stories?
Sure.
Sounds good.
And we're back. Okay, Cass, you have the Tainted Love this week, so start us off with some stories.
I'm not gonna lie. I genuinely almost said, "Hey, everybody, welcome."
It's that kind of
Dude.
day. It is that kind of day.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Okay, I have a listener story. It says, I grew up fairly sheltered, so when I went to college, I wanted to experience everything I could. I immediately downloaded Tinder and played it like a game every day.
That
Like
is how
the
they
way
intend for it to be.
Yeah.
played.
It would be me.
That's how
I'll
the
tell you if
makers of Tinder want it.
Oh, yeah.
And they would have me because when I tell you, if I was ever single, and I got to play the Tinder game, I fucking totally would.
Yeah, it's designed to be addictive, to give you those dopamine hits, when you get a match and all of that. It definitely would be. It was easy for me to find myself mindlessly doing it while I was watching a TV show or something on a Tuesday night when I was bored.
Yeah. On the other hand, though, I will say I would get bored with it probably pretty quickly. Probably like all games.
I don't think my self-esteem is set up in a way
Girl,
to handle.
Then, dude, when you get on dating apps, though, like as a woman, I will say it is very lopsided. The experience for us versus the experience for guys, completely different.
Like better
I
or
bet.
worse?
Better. I
Okay.
think we get way more matches. Way more matches.
Yeah, but the quality is probably way lower.
Correct. Correct. So it's almost like shopping at a thrift shop.
Oh,
you
God.
know, where it's like you're flipping through the racks and everything, and then you're like, "Holy shit! Like who threw
You're like
this
vintage
away? This
Christian
is
Dior.
amazing."
Wow.
And then you realize the back has a huge hole in it, and you're like, "Oh shit!"
You get
There
it
it is.
home and then you find the like coffee stain. Yeah.
You're like, "Oh man, I didn't see the pit stains on this."
It was that good bar lighting that they have a Goodwill. Anyway, I went to a branch campus of Penn State, and my sister went to the main campus. I would visit her pretty frequently and would use Tinder to match with students up there. Around November, I matched with a guy named Sam. He told me that if I could make it to State College on a specific weekend, he would take me to see a Grateful Dead cover band.
Oh my
That's that's not a selling point. That is not a selling point. That is not. I'm not like, ooh, oh my God, I really
Ooh,
got to get
great.
up there.
Listen.
You know what? I'm already there.
No,
All I can think. No.
jam bands.
No.
Jam bands. They're not for me. First
They're
of all,
not for me.
And
Exactly.
a jam band cover band. No.
Get your Jerry
No.
Garcia. Yeah.
No.
All right. I found out when I arrived that he had invited a friend to come on our quote date to the cover band. He offered me a quarter of a pot brownie, which clearly had been sitting in tinfoil for a long time because it was crunchy the whole way through.
I do not miss this age. Like
No.
like early 20s, like college age, like just what was happening there, and we just accepted it.
I wasn't.
We were
I
just
wasn't
like,
a good person then.
No, me either.
oh,
My
I don't-
20s.
There's no reason for me to go back.
Nope. Would
Nope.
not go back to my 20s at all. Like 35. That I feel like was the ideal age. I'd fuck
Yeah.
with 35 all day.
Yeah. Yeah. 35's solid. All right. So, yes, I ate it, but I was 18 and wanted to seem cool. The brownie obviously never kicked in, even though I was thoroughly enjoying the middle-aged men in orthopedic sneakers play Grateful Dead songs.
oh my god.
He
Oh,
made us.
this sounds like my worst. My worst.
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Already, you're like, get me
I
out of
hate
here.
this. I hate everything about it.
He made me leave, made us leave so that we could go eat cheap wings with his friend. After that, I went back to my sister's house to sleep it off because I was only there for the weekend. He wanted to fit in as many activities as he possibly could. So the next day, we went for a hike. He picked me up in his van. Already.
Why?
Already know. 18. That's why.
Well, okay.
He
I
thinks-
guess the question, was he minivan friend, or are you talking about this is somebody who deliberately bought, like the fact that he took
A
her to
van.
a Grateful Dead cover band situation?
That guy has a van.
That's
Makes
giving
me think-
hashtag van life.
Yeah, it's giving like you do have a van with curtains for sure, and like
On purpose.
a decal of a sunset or something on the side of it. It's been
And a
spray
wolf.
painted. Yeah.
Yes. He picked me up in his van and took me, it does say van, not minivan. Took me to a trail that was probably a 20-minute drive away. 5 minutes into the drive, he apologized and then rolled down the window. Before I smelled anything, he told me the wings weren't sitting right. This is Keegan's literal
Worst day. I fucking
worst
hate
day.
this. This is awful.
Hot boxed in a van.
In a van that probably already smelled like dust and weed. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, ew.
And faintly like shoe.
Yeah.
and oil. And
Yeah,
oil.
grease
Yeah.
because
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
eating McDonald's in there. Yeah.
Ooh.
Soon enough, my nose was assaulted by the smell of the gas. That can only come out of something who had been drinking beer and eating cheap fried chicken all night. Oh no. Such a very visceral,
Specific.
Oh, no.
so specific. I endured this the whole drive there, the whole hike, and the whole drive back.
No.
Oh.
Why was it? Why did it follow you on the hike? Why?
No, because I'm sure he's
Continued.
continuing to fart.
Look.
Bro,
Not
you gotta
just this
wake up
one
early
fart.
and have coffee and take your fucking morning dump. Especially if you've been drinking and having wings.
Rinse it out.
You gotta
Yeah.
fucking
I-
shit before you
Cleanse.
go out. Yeah.
I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on in the like gastrointestinal tract of a 18-year-old boy, but
Nope.
I don't want to know. Like,
No.
like it's gonna be bad without the beer and the wings already.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like they're not taking
Yes.
care of themselves. Okay,
No.
it's musty in there.
In that intestinal and in the intestinal tract.
Oh,
We
no.
ended up going to his dorm room, and he asked his roommates to quote give us some privacy. We had sex on his tiny twin-sized mattress.
No, we have to stop validating these men when they give us low effort dates where they fart all the way through it. You are not getting sex after that. Sorry. No, you got to up your
At
game.
18, you probably were.
Up your fucking game. That is so gross. So I'll tell you something I don't
18-year-old
want to
me would be
do.
giving it up.
I'll tell you something I don't want to do. Go down on somebody who's been farting all night.
Oh,
No.
no.
Keegan,
No.
how dare you?
Take a fucking shower. It's disgusting.
How dare you? Honestly, how dare you?
How dare he?
How dare men? And it literally lasted less than a minute. Even as inexperienced as I was, it was the shortest amount of time I had ever had sex. At that age, I was terrible at being honest with people, and I just thought I would hurt their feelings. So when he asked me what my plans were for that night, I invited him to my sister's apartment to play games with her and another friend.
Babe.
No.
Honey, just let it go.
Yeah, be like,
busy.
oh,
I'm
yeah,
busy.
I'm having dinner with my sister.
You don't
The
need to
end.
be mean. Yeah, you don't need to be mean
Yeah.
about it. You can just be like, oh, I'm sorry, I've got plans already. That's it.
I started drinking heavily to deal with the overwhelming embarrassment I felt for his behavior. And all night at my sister's, he made jokes to My sister made jokes to his face about how I clearly didn't like him and was irritated by how much PDA. Can you imagine? Like, that's some real sister moves.
No,
That's
that
some
is
sister
me.
shit.
I was 100% me. Like, I honestly would be
God.
like, she doesn't even like you, bro.
That's
so
so
mean.
mean. Oh my God.
Why are you still
do.
here?
Why are you here? In fact,
My
none of us
sister
really
friend-
like you.
In the morning, while my sister, friend, and I were hungover, Sam decided he would cook us breakfast despite us saying we weren't hungry.
Why is he still
He used
there?
that- Honey,
Oh, he
seriously.
stayed the night.
He used the last of my sister's eggs and burnt them in a pan along with all of her tomatoes and onions. He was
Oh, and when
only
you are
one who
in your
ate it.
late teens, early 20s, and you have fucking no money for groceries, and somebody just like
fucking pissed, dude.
oh my God.
Also,
Wrecks it.
if I'm hungover, burnt eggs, and also, like, for me, this gives me such ick. Hot tomatoes and
Ugh.
burnt eggs fucking
Gross.
kill me. I'm fucking vomiting 100%.
Gross. When I got back to my branch campus, I broke the news that I didn't want to see or talk to him anymore. He took it hard. Years later, when I transferred to the main campus, my best friend at the time started dating Sam's best friend. So I ended up having to hang out with him almost every weekend. It was weird at first, but we found a way to be friends. She said, "Thank you so much for creating this podcast. I shared it with my best friend and she loves it too. I look forward to a new episode every week."
Yay.
Girl, listen, we've all been
Thank
there
you.
for sure.
Oh.
I was such a people pleaser personality as well at that time. I talk a big game now, but the truth is I probably would have done very similar stuff.
Oh,
Girl, I let
100%.
a fucking man hang a half-naked poster of Ashley Judd over a bed I shared with him. I ain't saying shit. I ain't
No.
saying shit.
No.
I ain't got no room to talk at all.
Oh,
so
God.
oh.
Okay.
it happened.
This one just made me laugh, so I hope it makes you laugh too. Okay. I hadn't dated many people when I started college, but I developed a crush on a guy in my calculus class who really wasn't noticing me. I figured out where he studied in the library, and eventually we became study partners. I love that mastermind long game that she participated in. She's like, where does he study? I'll just study in his vicinity until he asks me to join his table.
You know that she played that out too in the shower. She's like,
Yeah.
had that whole convo plotted
Yeah.
out.
She's a mastermind. Yep. I learned that he taught tennis in his spare time, and although I had never played myself, there were courts near where I lived, so I suggested that we study for the next exam at my house. He could give me a lesson, and I'd make him dinner. He agreed. That's a good date. I was very nervous about having him over, but he showed up and we headed down to the tennis courts. It turns out I am terrible at tennis, but he had to touch... But he had to touch my arm to adjust my grip, which was a thrill at that point in my life. Anyhow, we get to the point where we are hitting the ball back and forth fairly well, and then he starts teasing me by hitting the ball all over the court, so there is no way I can return it. I don't like that kind of teasing, first of all.
No.
I
no,
fucking hate
I know
that shit.
I know I'm bad more than you know I'm bad. I don't
Yeah.
want you to point out that I'm bad.
And I'm
It
still
makes it worse.
competitive. And I don't
Yeah.
like being
Yes.
bad at this. So don't make it harder for me. It doesn't endear
Yeah,
me to
right.
you. I finally just kind of gave up with my hands out to either side, like what gives? And then it happened. He hit a ball super hard and it hit the fence behind me, bounced back towards me as I was looking towards him, and it hit me right where my ass and thighs come together. My muscles clenched and I caught the ball with my ass and thighs. So it just disappeared. It bounces back. He
You
looks
said,
at
mind
me.
the gap.
He looks at me very confused and says, "Where did the ball go?" It just disappeared. Imagine like you're playing and you're just like, you caught it in your ass cheeks, basically.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
I wanted to die and have no idea what happened in the next half hour after that. If it happened again, which is statistically unlikely, I'd like to think I might answer by saying, that's nothing. You should see what I can do with a basketball.
Oh my God.
And I just, because I like it whenever they do this, she included a picture of what she looked like at the time. You kind of can't see because we're recording.
Oh,
Oh my
Brilliant.
gosh. That's cute.
It was like in the
That's great.
90s.
I love that.
Oh my God. Yeah, where to go? I don't know.
That takes
wanna
some
go upstairs?
skill.
Yeah, exactly.
Catch it with your butt, basically.
Okay, I've got a listener story. You get a 2-for-1 because this is
Okay.
2 teenage dating awfulness stories.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay. She says, okay, I have 2 stories. I grew up in a super small town. My dad was a teacher and a coach at the small high school. He was also the preacher. Everyone knew everyone.
Oh, Lord. That's too many
Jeez.
hyphens. That's a lot.
Teacher, coach, pastor,
Yeah.
dad. Teacher,
Dad.
coach, pastor, dad. So I had a boyfriend who I was so in love with. I thought I would die without him.
Yep.
He was 2 years younger than me. I was 17. He was 15.
Girl.
Because of that, I would pick him up for dates. Yeah, I know. Classy.
Oh no.
My parents let us use their huge van with the curtains.
Oh,
There you
hell
go.
yeah. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Full 90s pimped out van.
Van friend.
We would go parking until curfew. Seriously.
Yeah.
Never ate, never did anything except park and have sex.
Well,
I
you're
know.
15 and
Damn.
17. You're 15
Yeah.
and 17. What else are you going to do? You can't go anywhere
That-
fun.
That boy was so popular with his friends.
Yeah.
Oh, 100.
Older girl. The pastor's
him up.
daughter.
The pastor's daughter. Yep. Oh,
Please,
he's-
everybody knows the pastor's kids are the worst.
Oh, dude.
PKs. Yeah.
That. So one night we were having sex parked in an empty field, as country teens do. Afterwards, I got out to pee completely naked. As I got
Wow.
back in, headlights came on.
No. At 17, there.
No.
I'm mortified.
Oh, I'm peeling my skin off. Someone had been parked in the wood line watching us the whole time.
Fucking psycho, yo guys.
I know,
Psycho.
this is the Zodiac. This
You
is
gotta
what-
go. You gotta get out of
the
there.
fuck out. To this day, I have no idea who it was. I didn't recognize the truck. I freaked out because it's creepy. Yes, it is. It's very creepy. But also because I was terrified someone would tell my dad they
Yeah, it's
saw
a small
me.
town.
Okay, first of all, if that's somebody you knew, you never found out who it was, that's real creepy.
That's-
because if it was somebody you knew, they'd be like, ha ha ha, they would fucking
Well, it,
razz you
it
up.
had to have been an adult, I would guess,
Right.
which is creepier.
She even
Because
says
if it was someone in your high school, they probably would,
they would
say something.
make fun. Exactly. But she says, looking back, what would they say? I was watching your daughter and her boyfriend having sex for a while. Anyway, I never heard anyone mention it at all. I still wonder who the hell it was.
Oh, I
Terrifying.
hate that. I
God.
don't like that at all.
Gary? All right.
I don't want you to live in that same town, to be honest.
This is
Yeah.
the beginning of spooky season for real. Here we go.
oh,
It's a poopy for sure. Okay, so second story. My boyfriend from above and I broke up. Turns out I could live without him.
Oh, yeah.
I was just fine.
Turns out.
yeah.
I set my eyes on a bad boy that I had no business dating.
Yeah.
He was the pitcher in my dad's baseball team. Friend spends the night with me and she suggests we sneak out and go to our other friend's house where the mom was out of town and the guys would meet us. I
Yep.
say, okay. We go to the window and get out. Fast forward to later. Baseball bad boy's mom calls my house in the middle of the night to ask if he was with me. My dad
No.
comes in to ask if I've talked to him. I'm not there.
Oh, no.
Meanwhile,
This is why I never snuck out. Because I was terrified that something like this was going to happen. I was going to get caught 100%. Like,
I definitely did get caught once.
Oh, I got caught once too. Yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, I'm at my friend's house partying with him. I was naked and in the bed with him, and I hear someone yell, "Shit, Coach is here." My mom and dad are at the door.
Nope. Nope.
I would.
How
Teenage me,
many
I'm not
floors up
recovering
am I?
from that. I'm not
How
recovering.
many floors up am I? How many floors up am I?
Can I
I'm
jump?
out.
Can I naked tuck and roll out the window?
Oh my God.
I will never have been dressed so fast in my life.
In my life. Are you kidding? The boys hid. I go to the door so scared. My friend who was sleeping over and I get in the car and I'm acting all hard. My dad keeps asking me if baseball guy was there. I say no. He doesn't believe me, but I was determined. Then my friend starts crying and blurts out that he was.
Bitch, bitch,
Be cool.
shut the
Be
fuck up. This
cool.
isn't your fucking dad. God damn.
I would be pissed. I really would be pissed. I'd be like, "You
God damn.
girl."
Jenny, shut the fuck up.
Seriously.
Just elbowing. Shut the fuck
Fucking snitches get stitches and then end up in ditches. We all know this. Oh my God. She didn't say that her boyfriend was there too. I was pissed. I ended up grounded for a month. That heifer didn't even get in trouble. And Monday at baseball practice, my dad made him run laps and do extra shit. He never said a word to him, but baseball boy was aware of the reason. That guy's in prison now. Oh, shit.
We all have one of those.
We do, actually.
We do.
Yep.
I know. It's fucked up.
Yep.
No, she says, "Oh, and my ex was also on the baseball team. Everyone knew what happened. It was an interesting week at school all the way around."
I'll tell you, small town
I
high
bet.
schools are a very special place. 'Cause
That took me
And
back.
by special, awful.
everyone knows everything.
That took me back in such a real way. Like, dude, the sitting in the car with your friend, your parents,
Yep.
you're in trouble, and then like having your friend like right. I'm like,
It
You
is the
fucking
worst
dumb
feeling
bitch.
though. Like, absolutely. But it is the worst feeling when you were a teenager and you were with your friend when they were getting in trouble. Was there anything like more uncomfortable? Because you're
No,
just kind of there and
feel-
you know that
But
like,
I ain't got nothing to say.
no, I never said anything, but it's like
No, I ain't got
it is
nothing to
such an
say.
uncomfortable situation to be in because like you know that they can't reprimand you, but you are included by proxy. So
Right.
you're like feeling the like heat that is like radiating off your friend's parents. That is the worst. And then you're like nervous to go back over there. Like the first time going back to your friend's house after you were with them when they got in trouble is always like kind of uncomfortable.
Oh, I
Yeah.
wasn't allowed to be hanging out with that friend anymore, Lisa. Lisa got,
Called her out.
my parents were like, "You can't hang out with her." I'm like, "Okay, what are you gonna do? Come home from work early?" I'm like,
Brilliant.
I raise me. I don't know. I do what I want.
yeah, I don't know what you're trying to do with that bass in your voice. Yeah, I think that the adult equivalent is like when you go over for that house party and you can tell that like the hosts
The
have
couple's
been
been-
fighting. Woo!
But the difference is usually you're not involved in that couple's fight.
That's
like if,
true.
if you
Hope
were
not.
up to some mischief with your friend and the parents come and your friend gets in trouble because it's their kid, but they can't reprimand you because you're not their kid. You know that like you've done some shit. You're guilty too. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you go over to your friend's house, at least it's just like that's between them. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but like that's nothing to do with me.
I'm
That's got
not
nothing to do
in
with
it.
me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly, it's so funny. I don't know what it is. I just when I get that energy, I'm just like, hi, I don't want to be here. Like, let
Oh
me
my
out.
God.
Let me
I
out of
know.
here. Ugh, my skin just crawls.
Me too.
Ugh.
Me too. Like you could have
All right.
canceled.
Yeah. You could have just. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, you guys want to take 5 and then we'll come back with the Tainted Love?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Sweet.
And we're back. So I have our Tainted Love story for us this week, and this story I did one the last one I did was so new that I was just like there's still stories, there's still information coming out about that, which
Right.
Dateline finally just covered
so new
it.
you beat Dateline to it.
I
so.
beat Dateline.
Yeah.
Okay. Just call me. Anyway, so the story I did this week is a harsh departure from that. I went very old. I was like, I need something that does not touch us personally any longer. You know what I mean? Like, it's so far removed. I was like, I need an oldie. So we're going to Fort Thomas, Kentucky.
Ooh, okay.
On Saturday morning. Fort Thomas, Kentucky, let me just kind of tell you where it is. It's right on the Ohio River. So it's right where like kind of Newport, Kentucky crosses over from Cincinnati. You're right in that area. So it's on the morning of Saturday, February 1st, 1896. A farmhand is out on some land that he works and sees a body, the headless body of a woman.
Ooh.
They call police, and
Did they have phones back then?
Exactly right. I mean, like, we're talking like cars were invented, but most people were still using horses and buggies to get around. This is, I mean, yeah, most people do not have phones. This is not, there is no modern technology at all. This is very early, early turn of the century, right? 1896. Yeah. So they find police. This is the kind of time too when yellow media was starting to become a thing. Everything was sensationalized. Every story, which was actually made it a little difficult to find out all the details, because this story became, a headless woman's body is found. This definitely became, a bluegrass song, or, like a folk song. This is one of those stories that became not just headlines in, Kentucky, Ohio. This became headlines all over the United States. This is something that was, Chicago was getting stories about this. So this is one of those huge headline stories. And they have no help from forensics. It's not like they're able to take fingerprints to ID the body or anything like that.
Yeah, they haven't even figured out fingerprinting yet.
That's right. So they don't have any way of identifying this body, so they think. And, when I'm talking about how the times are, this is the times when people would just be like, what the hell's happening over here? And, people just come up to the crime scene looking around. I mean, like, this is so, there's a body of a woman,
People would cut off pieces of the dress and be like, I got a piece of the dress.
Yes. Yeah. They're taking leaves and stuff that have the blood on it as mementos. This is exactly that kind of time. So, this is not, there's no secrecy. There's no tense up. There's no nothing. The woman's body is taken to Newport, Kentucky, where they do, the autopsy, all that kind of stuff. One of the people who runs the morgue, his friend is a shoe merchant, happens to pop in, to check out the body. He's like, I got to see the headless body. He realizes, he notices something right away. Initially, they're like, we don't know who this woman is. We'll probably never know, right? All shoulders. It's probably somebody based off of very loose judgment, this is probably somebody who was a sex worker. They just have no clue and they have nothing to go off of. But local shoe merchant, last name Took, I think it's Took or Took, Toock, who, again, went to the morgue. He's like, I got to see this dead body. He's like, she's got very unusually small feet. This is...
Which, how small is that? Because I feel like
apparently a size 3
in 1890 something. Yeah,
size 3.
Because I think the average size foot was a size 5 or something. It was still really small back then. So a 3. Have you ever been to the Chinese, the Grauman's theater and looked at the shoe prints, and Mary Pickford's feet are 3 inches wide. They're so fucking teeny tiny. So
dude, I would have been in the carnivals back then.
Yeah.
This big bitch.
It would have been Lady
They would have been
Bigfoot,
able to identify you by your feet too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Hey, whoa, these are unusually large. She must be from the... She must have been born in the late 1900s.
Specialty shoes made.
Special shoes.
For her. Yeah.
Yep.
So they were unusually small, but not specialty shoes small. But he did take a look at her shoes and was like, these actually have a tag in the inside from a vendor that I'm familiar with. So he's able to track down this vendor. The vendor is able to track down the fucking shoe to the exact place in which it was sold. Can you imagine? Like, and it's all old timey, right? So people are writing down, you know, copious notes about, oh, this shoe, this number was sent to this place at this, you know, and so they were able to track the shoe to a vendor in Greencastle, Indiana, to a store called Lewis and Hayes. Well, Lewis and Hayes also copious trackers of their records are intact, and they're like able to track down the exact shoe buyer to a Pearl Bryan. That Pearl Bryan bought them in November of 1895.
I know this story. I listened to the Crimes of the Centuries about this. This is a good one.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I actually listened to The Criminal about this, and it was like not helpful at all. It's an old one. It was like one from like 2015, which was, it was interesting in the way that she did it because she focused more on the folklore of the story as opposed to like, so I didn't really get
I fucking love
usable
Criminal,
information.
But if you want like, I wish I'd known because I could have directed you to the Crimes of the Centuries because she always goes and picks like, she goes and finds the old news articles and like reads the news articles from the time. Yeah. Which is great.
That's what I was able to do. I actually found this story through Gaslight, Murder by Gaslight.
Oh yeah. I fucking love
and
that
the guy
website.
who runs that site actually wrote a book about it. So he had tons of like articles that I was able to like go and read. But the thing was too, is like, because I was saying like, all this is a very yellow news time, you're seeing a lot of like, this is why there's such a myth built around it. It was hard to like find out what's actually factual and actually happened versus like the stories. Like sometimes you'll hear that it was a kid who found the body, and then it's like, no, actually it was like a 17-year-old who found it, and he was a worker on the field, and he was this. So you kind of get like pieces, like they definitely sensationalized this story quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it is a very sensational story. I mean, imagine you find a headless woman. I mean, that's shocking.
Right. Especially like, this time period.
That's shocking today.
And before like, you know, we didn't have a news cycle the way that we do now, where we kind of see this like grotesque, horrific stuff happening all the time. They didn't.
Right.
And so the idea of it being a woman at this very conservative time in this very conservative place and a decapitated woman, like that would be so scandalous.
Yeah, very scandalous. And so the thing of it is too, is that I'm going to try to kind of piece together what sounds actually factual versus kind of what, but I'll tell you some of the myth around it as well. So first and foremost, they go to Pearl's family. A little bit about Pearl. She was the youngest of 12 children. She was the youngest daughter. They had high hopes for Miss Pearl. The family was, very proud of their graduate from Greencastle High School. She was, very well known around town. The family was fairly well off, farming family, well respected in the community. So they were very, again, they had high hopes. This is their last daughter, beautiful, well liked in the community, and well known for her beauty in the community as well. So she was somebody who they were like, we're going to marry this one off real soon.
Real good.
Right?
She's going to marry real nice.
Yeah. She's got the looks, and she graduated high school. Pearl's family is contacted, of course, by the police when they kind of realize that this is narrowed down to being her. Pearl's family is like, no, she's not here, but she's in Indianapolis. She's actually gone up to visit a family acquaintance, a family friend of ours, to stay with her. They reach out. The father sends a telegram and is like, hey, is Pearl there? And the family was like, no, actually, she never did show up. She never came.
Oh, that's
so
terrible.
She's not here. So they're like, oh no, this definitely is Pearl. So why is Pearl, who lives in Greencastle, Indiana, supposed to be in Indianapolis, Indiana, found all the way over in, basically southern Ohio, northern Kentucky?
I'm going to guess.
The board.
I don't know this story, so I'm going to say secret lover.
Secret lover.
That's right.
Of course it is. And because it's also, my worst date, and we do talk about, she does have a secret lover. So she had met Scott Jackson. She met him through her cousin, Will Wood. Will was like, oh, you would love my cousin. Scott was new to town in Greenville, and he was smitten with Miss Pearl Bryan, just like all the other men. But he's new to town, and he's 27. He's a little bit older. He just moved there from Jersey, from New Jersey, Jersey City, and they had his father had passed away. That's how they ended up there. He had an older sibling that had lived in the area. That's basically what moved them there. But what Pearl doesn't know is that they also ended up moving there because Scott had a bit of a sketchy past. He's 27, but already had gotten himself into a little bit of trouble. Some of that trouble involved some money that he scammed from his school, where he was going to college, and so they had to Gisette and get out of town, and that's one of the other reasons that they ended up in her neck of the woods. But Scott was pretty intent in finishing his college. He wanted to be a dentist. And so he decided that he was going to go to the Ohio College of Dental Surgery, not where my mom worked at Ohio State, but down in Cincinnati, Ohio College of Dental Surgery. He was, again, he was really into Pearl. They had their little fling and affair, and he decided he was like, but I've had plenty. I'm time to move on.
Side note,
But
I
of
would
course-
love a little baby Pearl. Can we bring that name
that's
back?
a great name.
I think just
That's
like
a
a
great
little baby Pearl. Wouldn't that be cute?
My friend's
cute.
my friend has a French bulldog named Pearl, and I think it's so cute.
That is adorable. A little dog named
Yeah.
Pearl, a little Frenchie.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
A little white Frenchie named Pearl.
Aw.
I know, right?
I love
it's
it.
perfect. At any rate, she finds out pretty quickly though that she is
Preggers.
you nailed it.
Yep.
it.
She's pregnant.
She is pregnant. And so she's like, hi, so Scott would love to go ahead and get married. I think it would be a good idea.
You can arrange that ASAP. That would be great.
I think
Pencil me in.
And he's like, you know what? I'd rather not. I'm going to send you some medication for you to take in the mail. And he sends her some stuff that will hopefully induce a miscarriage, and it doesn't work. And so he's like, okay, my roommate and I, Alonzo, we know this doctor who can help us out of this situation.
Yikes.
So it's not 100% certain. We're not really certain. This is kind of where things start to get like, oh, hearsay. And then like you hear different versions of the story. What happens though is that Pearl does go to Cincinnati. So that we do know. Pearl packs up a small bag, heads to Cincinnati. Now, whether she is under the guise that she is going there to get an abortion, we don't know. Whether she is under the ruse that he has like
Gonna marry her.
I'm going to marry you, come to Cincinnati to be with me. Who knows? But what we do know is that there was a doctor involved, and he did convince her at some point to go see this doctor. But the autopsy does show that she's 5 months pregnant. So whatever had been done didn't work, or they didn't
It
do
was
it at
that.
all.
Yeah, that wasn't ever the intent.
Right. They do. So the thing of it is that Scott Jackson is who she's dating. Alonzo Walling, is his roommate. And so what they do know, there is some information that comes out from one of the local like cabbies, basically, that they had stolen his cab basically from him. They were like, take us across the river, At any rate, they do realize that the body, when they find it, had been already, again, was still pregnant, 5 months pregnant. The other thing that they realize is that it's pretty likely that Pearl was actually still alive when they decapitated her.
Oh my God.
And they determined that, I know. And again, I don't know if this is part of that like whole like sensationalizing of the story, but they said that the coroner did say that there was the way that the blood was at the scene, and because there was so much of it, that they were pretty certain that she was actually not dead. So they find Scott Jackson. find Alonzo Walling, and they confront them about this crime, of course.
Sorry, how old was she?
She was, I believe she was 22.
Really
I
young.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, around when she died. So yeah, very young. They find her ex. They end up finding out that she was dating him because I think that Will Wood. So again, from a lot of different sources, it does seem that Will was like, actually, I introduced them, so I'm sure she was dating this guy.
Well, that's her cousin,
happens
right?
to be going.
Yeah,
her cousin's
Yeah.
Will.
Yeah, her cousin's like, talk to this fucking guy. That's
right.
my cousin.
Also, though, another source said that she had also dated Will. It kind of made her sound like she was dating quite a few people. So I don't know. That to me sounds very much like
sensationalized.
I mean, I guess people did date their
Sensationalization,
cousins back
exactly.
then, but how much did that
Sure,
really
but-
happen outside of like prominent families?
It sounded more like that they were trying to disparage her name. Like, oh, she
Right.
dated a bunch of people. Who knows? This
And
could
she
be
was
blah, blah, blah.
pregnant out of wedlock and just
Yes.
stuff that could further scandalize
Icky.
people about her. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, it was a pretty gruesome death. They do end up finding, like I said, Scott Jackson and Walling, and they, interview them separately. Both are like, nope, don't know what you're talking about. But eventually they do get arrested and they are tried. And both of them are like, well, it wasn't me. It was him who did it. So they end up blaming each other. One of the other weird things that happens in this crime, which is something that I wanted to talk about when you brought it up earlier, Keegan, was, how like some women are like, ooh, they're so hot. These guys became incredibly like
I
sought
fucking
after because
hate
they
that
were
shit.
quote unquote good looking. And so these women were
hate
coming
it.
out of the woodwork and like, oh, I have an alibi. He was with me. And it was just like these women were just like, completely.
I think that's called hybristophilia. Isn't that what that is? And
Yes.
when
Yeah.
we did
Yes.
our first live show here in LA, Keep It Weird, who opened for us, talked about that. I wish we still had I don't know if we recorded that at all, but I wish we had the footage of it or the audio from it, because I think that's such an interesting topic, is like, what the fuck is that? Like, what is that phenomenon of people being either attracted to people who have committed violent crimes or it not mattering to them? Like, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think maybe part of it has to be the like control of it. Like, they can't go anywhere if they're in prison.
Yeah.
They can't be unfaithful to you. They can't really talk back. You have complete control over that relationship in a way. I don't know. I'm just spitballing, but I feel like that's got to be part of it.
Well, I
So
think that
weird.
though the thing of it is that these women were like trying to get them out of prison. So
Yeah.
I wonder, I don't know.
Or
Listen,
just,
there's got to be
and
other
there's-
men around.
there's
They
always
aren't that good looking.
women, but there are always women willing to make excuses for people who have been
Behaved badly.
right, or where allegedly they've behaved badly. Like, you see that if you look at any, and this is so gross, and we have not talked about it on the show, and we don't have to, but like, if you look at any comment section where they're talking about Danny Masterson, you are going to find,
gross.
or any comment section where they're talking about Chris Brown, you are going to find women in that comment section, and usually a lot of them willing to excuse their behavior, say that it didn't happen, overlook it in some way, minimize it in some way.
Right.
And I don't
Dude.
know what that is.
It happened today. So I'm a part of a local community Facebook group where like people post like banana shit. Someone went in and anonymously posted somebody's picture from the sex offender registry.
Oh,
And then in the comments, that person came in the comments and was like, please take this down. Like, I've did my time or whatever. And then there was a bunch of women that came in and commented on it. Like, he's such a nice person. Like, whoever did this is an asshole. Well, we went to the fucking thing and looked it up, and it was like something with a child, with a minor. And I'm like, you got me fucked up that you're in here in these comments defending this person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, it fucking happens, and not just celebrities, but like regular ass motherfucking losers here in this small town.
Damn. I mean, Wow.
Mind blown,
I am
right?
speechless. That is.
Eric and I
Like,
were having
dude, did you
coffee.
even look?
We were like, what the fuck? We're like, well, we're looking this up.
Right, because here's the thing,
Yeah.
like, you know, you can end up on the registry for all kinds of reasons. So it could be like, okay, you were, you know, you were really drunk and you decided to go
on the side of a building.
on the side of a building, and it happened to be on the side of a playground or whatever, and now you're on the sex offenders registry. But that's not the situation.
That's
Nope.
not that.
It
It's not
ain't that. Nope.
Wow. Oof. Anyway, well, these two were both convicted of first-degree murder, and they were both hung on the same day, March 20th, 1980.
Oh, my birthday.
1897, in Newport, Kentucky. They did do their time.
Can we talk about hanging as a form of execution? Just like, God, what a fucking wild time. When you just have like public hangings, like that's such a horrifying way.
Public hanging.
Where people are like excited to go and see
They're
it.
like,
It was
pack your
a
picnic.
town event.
It's a family outing.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? What's
Make a day of
happening?
it.
Well,
Ugh.
even like we were just rewatching the Civil War by Ken Burns, and there's that one battle where like the whole town was like, "Let's go watch the war."
Well,
And
you
they
know,
were
you had to be bored as fuck. You really did.
There was no TV.
Nothing to
there was
do.
no TV, Christina.
But yeah, like that war, especially, it's so brutal. And it's just like, really? You want to see people die horrifically? You want to take your children to see people die horrifically?
Yeah, nuts to me, nuts.
Yeah,
Oh.
that was a bonkers story, but I just thought it was really. I can't believe I hadn't heard it before, especially.
Because it's kind of local.
Well, Ohio.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense to me whatsoever that the roommate was involved.
Yeah, I think that he was just helped out. There was some talk that he was also involved with her. I don't know. Again,
Listen, I love
because
y'all.
the story
I love
is
y'all so much.
sensationalized.
I'm not just, if you call me and you're like, hey, can you help me move this couch? Yeah, I'll do
I'm
that
there.
for you. But I'm not, if you're like, hey, can you help me move this body? I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe that makes me a bad friend. But,
Oh, they never did find her head either. That was the other part of it. Like they never did
Oh.
find her head.
Mm.
So,
it's terrible.
Oh my goodness.
but yes, there were folk songs about it. You know that they
yeah,
made.
I almost feel like that Dolly has referenced something like that. So it
Oh, maybe.
maybe
There's a lot of those types of stories and songs because, you know, all those stories, you know, again, they got so sensationalized, but they became kind of morality tales, right? Like,
Yeah,
right.
of course.
Like,
Don't leave your
this
home.
Is,
Don't
this
be
is what
fucking-
happens
When you have sex
get-
outside of marriage, this will happen
I
to you.
fucking hate our purity culture because you know how much violence and death it's brought
Absolutely.
on women.
Yeah.
On women.
Yeah.
It's almost
Takes
always
two to
on
tango.
women. Yeah, it's almost
But-
always on the woman. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you do, I don't know what episode it is, but I'm sure if you Googled it, you could find it. I think if you did listen to the Crimes of the Centuries episode, I think she plays some of the folk songs, or she plays bits from some of the folk songs. So,
Yeah. The criminal episode did.
yeah.
Like I said, I really wasn't able to do any, like pull any information from that episode just because it really was more about the folklore of it.
Right.
But the song is on there and
But this
they
is-
actually like remake it.
It's so, I mean, these stories come up time and time again, and they are always timely, unfortunately. But it just goes to show you that if we normalized abortion,
Yeah.
and if we were able to say that it is not stigmatized, nobody is going to look down on you. Nobody is going to make your life more difficult for seeking an abortion. If we were able to say that and we were able to make them more accessible, things like this might not happen.
Right.
Right? Because he didn't want to marry her. She was pregnant. Like he felt like he's disgusting. It's not a defense, but it's just like
No.
he felt like he could just kill her and get rid of the situation. Whereas if there was no stigma around abortion and they could just get together and decide, you know, this isn't working, let's just go ahead and like cut this off and move forward, then likely this whole scenario wouldn't have taken place, you know,
Right,
and
exactly.
it's so fucking sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, let's get off this topic immediately, if not sooner. What are you guys watching?
I've got a great thing to get us off this topic. Great British Bake Off is back. And I watched the first episode and I am charmed. I fucking love it. I love when this show comes back. It makes me so happy. They always bring it back in the fall. So I'm already in like a baking cozy mood. And they are just so lovely and sweet. There's a new host who I love. I love her. She seems great. I don't remember her name right now, but lovely. This batch of bakers, so talented. They are
Nice.
they might be like the most talented group I've seen week one on the show. They're so good. So it's what I needed. I've had like a really stressful couple of months, but this last week was also very tough, and like being able to just like sit down and cozy up and watch people just like bake some cakes was really nice.
Yeah. I'm on my British procedural kick once again. I watched the first episode of Murder in Provence. I think it's only 3 episodes, but it was good. They're like mini movies. You know how they do.
I love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. That's what I'll be doing for the rest of my afternoon.
Oh, ladies, I told you earlier this week that I started something that quietly dropped on Max with little to no fanfare.
Oh my God. Please talk to us about this. I am so excited. Please.
There are 6 seasons of a UK dating show
6
called Naked Attraction.
6 seasons.
No. Can't be me.
How are there that many people willing to do this?
Let me
How?
describe this. First of all, these are regular people that come in and they're like, we want a date. So they're fully clothed. They go on this soundstage. There are like 5 or 6 different colored screens with naked people behind them. The screens open up to just above their genitals. And then they go in and they judge the people's
Shut up.
genitals.
No.
They talk about it, what they like, what they
you
don't like.
have-
No.
Close up,
What?
camera full on. Like, and so then they're like,
Christina,
okay.
I'm so
Wait,
sorry.
the camera's on the genitals.
Right, exactly
Yes.
my question.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No one
No.
needs to get that close to that
real
situation.
close.
Look, it does what it needs to do. You don't need to know more than that. I don't think you need to get
We have full blown conversations about everyone's genitals.
so
Then
like
the
every
screen-
ingrown hair is being just
everything
under the
they
microscope.
turn around. They look at the butt. They
You
make comments. Yeah. So then the screen comes up and it comes just under their chin. So then we're talking about like, nipples, boobs, like all of that. Still no faces. Everything.
My
They eliminate people.
Esteem would never recover. I would never be
done.
okay again. Ever.
So
I'm
yeah,
done.
they eliminate people, and then they're like, "Oh, you could have been with Jeff, who works at a call center." Like regular fucking Jeff, who works at a call center, showed his dick and balls on a UK television show that is
So now everybody that
on
Jeff works
Max,
with-
Wait,
streaming
but they
on
don't
Max.
show. It's all like pixelated, right? No, Christina.
I'm not
Christina.
kidding.
No.
It is full on. It's completely.
You guys, I gotta go. I gotta go watch.
Girl,
what the fuck?
I took an edible, and Eric and I were like, we got so into this because let me keep going. Let me keep going. Okay,
I'm gonna watch this now. I feel like
So-
I have to.
I have
it's
to.
regular fucking people in the UK.
Who would
These
agree
are-
to this? Who would agree to do this?
There's like, some guy who's a DJ, another guy who, like I said, worked at a call center, some people who like retail, like regular fucking people. So then like it goes to the screen, they keep eliminating people, and then finally when there's 2 left, then they have to, the picker has to go and be naked, and the 2 that are left get to critique their body, the picker's body. It's bananas.
This is
and so
horrifying.
then,
Who
then
came up
she
with this
picks
idea?
the person to go on a date with, and then it shows them on the date, And then afterwards they go on the couch and they're like, oh, did you guys like hit it off or whatever? And like sometimes they're like, yeah, well, no, we didn't talk again like after that, or like, oh, we're still dating. Dude, Eric and I got so into it because then we got in the psychology of the picker, where we were like, what are they attracted to? Who are they going to eliminate next? Is it going to be pink or is it going to be yellow? Like
British reality shows are unhinged. That is
Unhinged.
the most insane shit I have ever heard of. And there was a reality show in the States where people had to wear animal masks.
Nope.
Do you remember that one?
Oh my God,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
And
Woof.
that isn't as bonkers as what you're talking about.
Something about it for me, I'm just like the fact that it was just regular people, and there was a lot of just like regular bodies. Like, yeah, everybody's like in their 20s or whatever, but it was just like regular people's bodies.
I just could not hear. In fact, I'll go so far as to say, I don't want to hear you criticize my body, period.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I simply don't.
Can I have headphones?
Because
can I have headphones?
I criticize my own body enough. But I don't need
Exactly.
any outside opinions on what you think of my labia. Like that's enough.
No.
That's
No,
enough.
they're-
No.
Full on people talking about balls, how much hair around a butt they like. But the thing of it is
that they
that,
like. Is there a
Yeah.
preference? Is there like a length for butt hair? That's like the appropriate length.
But I think I've seen like 4 episodes and I'm like, I don't know if this actually encourages body positivity or not, because what the show starts to show you is how subjective people's attraction is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
she's like, oh, I love a good hairy bullocks, that kind of thing. And it's just like, and like,
that's something that you could be insecure about. You can find out that somebody is actually like, they're like, oh, I really love
Super
that.
into.
Yeah. But I'm like, you guys have got to see it. It's the wildest thing I've ever seen streamed on a television show of all time.
Naked Attraction.
Naked Attraction. It's
Girl,
on Max.
All right.
So
right.
you got to watch it. You got to watch it so
will.
we can talk about it.
I will.
Okay.
Just,
All right.
just you don't have to tell
Wow.
me twice. Say less. I will watch
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. Oh my God, you guys. Ugh.
Well, if you guys have some stories, if you have something that we should watch, if you just want to reach out and say hello, go to our one-stop shop of website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com. And we love you so much. Cheers.